everyone, a very warm welcome to my channel. I am Shanti, and in this video I wanted to share a few of the home goals that I had set for myself. But before I start, why am I doing this in the first place and what are home goals is that, let me start from the beginning. So about a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, winter is just beginning and I wanted to make a few changes in the house to suit winter. Because winters do tend to get cold and I hate cold weather. So during that process, I was asking myself this constant question as to what is it that I want to achieve by doing this, by organizing this in a certain way. So a lot of thoughts were going on in my mind, so I thought I will just write down. I'll make a journal entry as to what do I expect from my home. So what is the kind of energy that I want to feel when I am in the home, and what are the kind of hobbies that are easily accessible, easily done, doable in this house, and the kind of warmth that I feel from the house. So that will include the way it looks, aesthetics, right? So a lot of these things were coming into my mind, so I wrote them down. So I have a rough list of goals that I believe are important to me, because see, there are a lot of goals that we can take up, but what is most important right now at this point of time, depending on the situations that we live in, that prioritizing, so that is also important. So from the things that I've written, I think three points that I wanted to discuss today. These are the top priority, I think. So the very first goal is to have whole foods as much as possible, home cooked meals. So the reason this is important for me is that I live in Delhi and there's a lot of pollution. When I first came to Delhi, when the kitchen was not yet completely set up, I ate out a lot and that caused a lot of problems. There's a lot of contamination. So I thought from that time onwards, I was quite particular about including more whole foods and eating home cooked as much as possible. So first thing is, I do have a maid who helps me out, so that's a plus. I don't think it's possible without a maid. And as for that, you cannot completely depend on the maid, that is my experience. So you need to do some things for yourself as well, by yourself. So when I cook, I wanted the space to be a little more spacious. Like for example, here you have the sink, and right next to the sink, this is the place where vessels, after washing, they used to be kept, the vessel basket. And that would sort of reduce the space that is available for cooking. Basically the idea is to create a look which is more spacious, so that when I cook, I feel free, right, mentally also, and there's also a lot of workspace. And also I've organized certain things, like for example, we have this shelf. This entire shelf consists of different kinds of dals and pulses. So we have even chole and white matar and all kinds of things, so that I have a clear-cut view of what are the things that have not been cooked for a while, so that I can include a diverse variety, and also it sort of doesn't bore you, right? You're eating same arhar ki dal over and over again. That's boring, right? So that is one way to include more diversity. And one of the problems that I face is to actually get groceries on time. So that is still something that I am working on. Online shopping does work wonders for me, but still fruits and vegetables are something that I'm still figuring out. There are a few apps like Country Delight is something that I've observed. Fresh fruits and vegetables, they're good enough as compared to Swiggy, Instamart or Blinkit. And also, this is something that's new for me. When my mom came, she ordered from Amazon, and that also surprisingly was quite fresh and tasty. So that's again a plus point. So I am trying out from a variety of online stores which will give me fresh groceries. So yes, that is about including more whole foods. This is what I'm trying to do when if it comes to my mind that this is the goal that I want to achieve. So here, identifying the goals, like how do I do that and what are the problems that are stopping me from doing that. So this is the kind of analysis that I had done. before I reorganized the kitchen in a certain way. So I will not talk about all of the reorganization that I'm doing because that will bore you. So yes, that is the first goal. So the second goal is not related to kitchen, but I will still continue doing it in the kitchen because to take the camera out to a separate location is a whole new thing. So I will just continue doing it in the kitchen. So the second goal is to create spaces, reading and writing spaces which are accessible, which are easily visible, so that you can build the habit and also they are fun. Okay. So for example, let's say that there's a very nice window where sunlight is streaming in, right? It is east facing and sunlight is just streaming in at the beginning of the day. It's beautiful. So create a reading space there, right? So that is one idea. And when I wake up, sometimes I have a lot of ideas and thoughts that I want to instantly write, or I am just frightened that I will forget it, the more time that passes. So I ideally would want a pen and paper right next to my bed so that I can wake up and I can just start writing. And yes, so many things like that. So currently, of course, I have not been able to achieve all of the ideas that I have, but I do have multiple spaces, reading spaces, writing spaces in my house, so that I do not get bored. Like if there's only one space, then it feels a little boring. So I have multiple spaces that I had set for myself. And also there should be comfort, like you need to have a comfortable chair, you need to have a table so that you can put a glass of water or coffee or whatever, and you should be able to place a stack of books maybe. And of course, like I said, sunlight, if it is coming, then well and good, or at least it should be well lit by a lamp or overhead lights or whatever. And also, of course, there should be a good library, because the kind of books, if you have only a limited kind of books, then you will not be able to read them in all kinds of days. Like sometimes you're moody, sometimes you are very excited, enthusiastic to learn something new, and sometimes you just are in a research kind of a mood. So you need to have books which are answering all kinds of problems that you have, all kinds of moods that you go through. Like for example, let's say you're feeling a little lonely, then you need to have books which sort of light you up, right? Maybe a bright story, or maybe something about mental health. So different kinds of books need to be there, so that whatever is the kind of mood that you're in, and if you feel like reading in that mood, then you need to have a proper book. So building a good book collection is also part of enhancing the reading capacity, the writing capacity of everyone who's present in the home. So that is my second goal. So the third goal is to encourage and have space for discussions surrounding intergenerational trauma. So when I talk with people, a lot of people think that intergenerational trauma is about people who have mental health issues, mental health history, but it's not like that. So when there is a mental health issue that is coming up in a certain generation, it's not something that is just cropped up. A lot of things, small things that happen from generations together, they sort of keep accumulating over the generations, and finally it just sort of explodes kind of. So to be able to talk about the behavior, the history of our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, even our history, our country history, our societal history, so our city history, wherever we are from, these are something that we have to talk. And of course, this is not the most difficult part. The most difficult part is being vulnerable. Like, when I was young, this was what happened, and this is a vulnerable point, and this is something that you cannot share probably with anyone around you. But what if there were discussions, there was space, and there was time and patience that is being shown, so that you can share when you're ready. So what happens, why is it important to be vulnerable, is that when you talk about it, it's a sort of retrospection that is happening. When you are framing it in words, it creates a kind of clarity. So of course, that's why journaling is also good, but also sharing it with people, is also good because you get the perspective of the other person as well, and if they have gone through something similar, then that also helps. I do remember as a child when I was growing up, my mom would give me this luxury of conversations. She would be there, she would listen to me for hours together, listening to me talking about the kind of weaknesses that I have, or the kind of some things which I feel maybe embarrassed about, or maybe things like maybe jealousy or anger or hatred or even love, and all kinds of things that I feel I would discuss with her. This is not something that happened like right away. This is something that I remember that happened through the years. As I kept growing, the amount of conversations, they kept increasing, and I was able to open up so that I have clarity on what I'm thinking, what are the things that I'm feeling. And looking back, I realized that this was something that was very important for me to address the kind of intergenerational trauma that I have, the societal trauma that we all go through. So this is something that I want to replicate even in my house as well. So yes, this is my third goal of encouraging discussions around intergenerational trauma. So I did not expect to go into such depth, but I do hope that this video was not as boring, and I really hope that it was helpful. And yes, that's all for this video. If you did like it, then don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment.